Hi, it's Carla again. In the categories of the angers, we have an interesting emotion. People call it by two different names, apathy and boredom. Here it is in my Language of Emotions card set. I call it the mask for anger. Think about a bored or apathetic teen, and you ask them, hey, what's going on? Nothing. How you doing? Whatever. Would you like to, how about, nah. That person is setting boundaries, right? They're not out in the open boundaries in the way healthy anger would say, this doesn't work for me and I need it to be in a different configuration so that I can feel comfortable in this situation. Apathy and boredom drop a mask over anger. And by using the word mask, I don't mean that they're fakey. What I mean is that they're actually dropping over and sort of protecting the person. In most places, if you look back at the times you've been bored or apathetic, it is very likely that if you were to speak out with your healthy anger, nobody would have cared and nobody would have listened. It's not about you, and it's never going to be about you, and really it's not your place. Apathy and boredom can drop over so that you can just sort of be within yourself. It's all boring. But it kind of takes some of your energy away so that you can't spike out. Let me think of a situation where I was bored. In my graduate degree, there were some courses that I had to take that I had no interest in, and it sounds like the teacher didn't either. So they were very rote. They were very tedious. They were step by step, get your grade. And it was a teaching degree, right? It was an education degree. So I was learning teaching curriculum and how people learn and uptake information. And I knew that this was a terrible class. But the teacher made it clear that our opinions were not important, right? He was the guy who knew. And I found that apathy and boredom would drop over me a lot in that course, because if I spoke out, it was clear it wasn't about me. I was just another person in the chair. In next semester, he was going to do the same thing over and over again, and he was just sort of getting his paycheck. And what I found is I was bored and apathetic, and I really didn't need to listen very much because what he was saying wasn't that interesting or that deep. So what I did was I doodled for that whole course. And as I look back, I kind of went, whoa, apathy and boredom were helping me here, because my voice was unimportant. My personhood was unimportant. It was, the course wasn't about me in any way, shape, or form. And making it about me would have just slowed everybody down. Probably the other students would have gotten angry at me, and rightfully so, for just taking more time. So my voice wasn't important. Nothing was important about me there. And so apathy and boredom dropped over to sort of protect me from that. So I doodled, and I doodled an entire, a community. There was people, there was houses, there was a river, there was birds by the river. I mean, it was beautiful. But I went home when I was in that course, and I looked back over my old, my old binders from previous courses, and I could tell which one was boring by how much doodling there was, right? I was like, wow, I've been doing this for a long time. Apathy and boredom are beautiful, wonderful emotions when you need them, right? There was no need for me to speak up in that course. It would not have done anything for anybody. We just needed to get through it, right? And so apathy and boredom helped me. The gifts of these two emotions are detachment, right? Boundary setting. I was setting a boundary. It was like, you do you, and I'm going to do me, doodling. Separation and taking a time out. I really did need a time out from that situation. The internal questions are, what is being avoided and what must be made conscious? Now, a lot of people in looking at those questions are thinking that apathy and boredom are an avoidance technique. And in a way they are, but I don't look at them in, some things need to be avoided, right? That situation needed to be avoided. Or if you're in a terrible job that is completely not made for you, you just need to make your money, right? That's the situation. You avoid the sense of futility so that you can keep going. Apathy and boredom can help you do that. And what must be made conscious? I think people thought when I put those words down, what must be made conscious, is that it's unconscious, right? That apathy and boredom are unconscious. But what must be made conscious is while I was doodling, while I was thinking, while I was ruminating, I was thinking about how I would teach this course. I was thinking about wonderful courses that I used to have. I was thinking about my favorite teachers. I was sort of speaking my own truth while I was doodling. And I would write down things, remember Tony Waters, one of my favorite teachers, remember how he did this and that sort of thing. So what I was making conscious was in that unconscious classroom, what would have worked, right? So if you're stuck and if you're trapped in a place where your apathy and boredom is like, wow, we are helping you, and you're like, oh my gosh, start thinking within this mask, within this protection, what would work? What would excite you? What would be brilliant? How would you do it differently? Have you ever seen it done differently, right? Allow the mask to keep the not very nice world out there while you create the world that could be inside. That's what I mean by what must be made conscious. It's like, what would work? So apathy and boredom are a mask. Bless them, thank them, use them, and then take the time that they're giving you and the space that they're giving you to ask yourself, what would work? Now I have to say, if you have apathy and boredom that don't shift and they're constant, it could be a sign of depression. So make sure that you check that your apathy and boredom are actually responding to something, and it's not just bzzzt every day. Every day is apathy and boredom. They can sort of take some energy away from you so that you don't have your oomph, and if they last too long, or you're in a situation where your needs are never going to matter, right, as they get out of that situation, but you may need some support to kind of bring yourself back. Talking to a close friend, talking to someone you love, talking to a therapist or a counselor, helping yourself get out. Because when apathy and boredom are around all the time, it's not saying there's something wrong with you. It's saying, this situation is not supportive. It's not where you need to be. And if you can't get out, if you can't, just know that your apathy and boredom are trying to help you. Thank you. And spend some time dreaming of the place where you do belong. And the place that is delightful for you. You can take this time. Thank you, apathy and boredom. Thank you, Thank you, apathy and boredom, for letting us know that this place doesn't have a place for us. Thank you. See you soon.